It's a 3-topic Cowboys report today. We'll discuss a lot of updates on Mike McCarthy and his future with the Cowboys or elsewhere. A Garrett Wilson trade, as those rumors now appearing, thanks to the NFL Network. And we'll talk about starting Trey Lance in a inconsequential, I think it's the proper term there, Week 18 matchup. Now, if you want us to do another Dallas Cowboys NFL mock draft, simply share today's video, and we'll drop it for you guys on Tuesday on demand. So share that video if you want, or this video, I should say, if you want a Cowboys mock draft. Let's talk Mike McCarthy here. He's got the final game of his contract coming up on Sunday. Then he's out of a contract. Not sure on the exact timing. I know Garrett's was like a week plus later, so it would probably be something similar on that front, would be my guess. Emphasis on guess there. It is unclear still if he will be back. A lot of uncertainty there, if we're being honest there, because I don't know if the Cowboys know what they want to do. It's also unclear if McCarthy wants to be back. Both sides have taken the we'll talk about it when the season's over approach. The Cowboys have fought hard down the stretch. That's not reason in of itself to extend a coach. Reason not to fire them mid-season, maybe not reason to, extend them. On the extension front, NFL Network reports there's been no substantive talks about an extension for Mike McCarthy yet, which I do find interesting because you're getting tight on time as it relates to McCarthy. He's going to be a free agent. And Glazer Adam Schefter have both said McCarthy would have interest from other NFL teams in a very unique situation that we haven't seen since the last time the Cowboys hired a head coach. Mike McCarthy's a free agent. He is able to go explore other job opportunities. And he hired Don Yee to be his agent this year. Probably not an accident. And I would wager good money that it's Don Yee and McCarthy's agent that's the one saying, McCarthy would have other interest, even if there very well could be interest elsewhere. A decision needs to be made soon because all of your coaches are out of contracts. So you really don't want to do the classic Cowboys thing and drag this in for several weeks. If you're not going to keep Mike, you got to get a start on that head coaching search. You have to. Because otherwise, you might lose Mike in the process if that is something you're concerned about. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. You got to figure things out there. So you got to make a decision pretty quickly after Week 18 ends. It shouldn't take you more than a day. Honestly, it shouldn't. Does that mean they'll do it? I don't know. So will McCarthy be the Cowboys head coach in 2025? This is the pinned comment on today's show. So if the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there. Y for yes, N for no. What bothers me a little bit is I don't know if the Cowboys know what they want to do yet, which as far as I'm concerned is a bad thing. You're really letting the final 7 to 8 games of a 5-year tenure figure out what you want to do with Mike McCarthy. I frankly don't believe that whatever your opinion going into this was about Mike McCarthy into the season, I don't think anything should have changed. If you were pro Mike McCarthy, he was dealt a bad hand, front office failed him, had some injuries. If you were anti-McCarthy, they weren't good before the injuries. And my big takeaway is this. If the Dallas Cowboys didn't think that Mike McCarthy was worth extending after 3 straight 12-5 seasons, why on earth is a 7 or 8 win season enough now? Why is this performance of they didn't quit suddenly enough when you didn't quit but you lost in the playoffs? That wasn't enough. This is? That doesn't make sense to me. This is not a Mike McCarthy's terrible conversation. He's a fine coach. He does good things. He's a top 30, top 20, whatever coach. I think he's better than some of the guys that got fired this year, pretty clearly. It is a question of, is he good enough? Cowboys told us, and I think most of us agreed, hey, 12-5 is cool. We want more. So now you're going to extend him after 7 or 8 wins because they tried? My bar is higher for the Dallas Cowboys. I think your bar is higher. It's not about having a good enough coach, but having a great head coach. Who here thinks Mike's a top 10 NFL head coach? That's what I want. You kind of need that to win Super Bowls, right? Competing and effort and fights and blah, blah, blah. Those aren't the goals. That is the baseline. That is the baseline for why you don't get fired midseason. Go ask the Bears. Keeping Mike McCarthy is just taking the easy way out. It's picking comfort over challenging yourself to try to get better. It is hiring coaches not to lose. Well, yeah, maybe we don't win the Super Bowl, but hey, we're not going to be a 5-win team. I would rather gamble. I would rather have higher goals and aspirations than settling for, well, at least it's not worse. That's what this screams to me, which is why it's a very real outcome the Cowboys do, because that's all they do. They don't challenge themselves. They always find a way to take the easy way out. Today's show is made possible by Prize Picks, the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. It is playoff time. Maybe not so much for the Cowboys, but it is playoff time across pro football and college football. So don't miss out on the last few weeks of football action with Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the playoffs. Do the flex play. You can get one wrong and still hit your Prize Picks slate. We got Stovall, more than receiving yards. I'm trusting my boy Jack Lotteray. He knows Arizona State football. He's an alum. Will Howard, more than passing yards, kind of it's the demon. It's the easier, more than, less than. And Carnell Tate's the aggressive one, anytime touchdown. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. It's Prize Picks. Run your game. Let's talk starting Trey Lance. Cooper Rush struggling against the Eagles again, unfortunately. Season is over. There are more calls to start Trey Lance, which I think is very understandable. Cooper Rush has done, honestly, pretty consistent Cooper Rush stuff. I don't think the record would be aligned with the statistical output on offense, but he's done his job as a backup QB, and I mean that in the most positive sense. I think it is perfectly reasonable to say, overall, as a backup QB, Rush has met, if not exceeded, expectations, and I still want to see what Trey Lance can do out there. The range of outcomes for Lance is significantly wider. He can be better. He can be a lot worse than Cooper Rush was, and the fact that they haven't played him does open up the question mark of how he's looked in practice. I question how good he's looked in practice, frankly. So pick one to start. TL for Trey Lance, CR for Cooper Rush. Who do you want to start Week 18 against the Commanders? At this point, what's the downside? What's the harm in letting Trey Lance get a start for the Cowboys? Winning doesn't actually matter at this point in the season. It's Week 18. You're out of it. Play for pride, play for contract, etc. They've made comments about how, hey, we don't want to have a situation where we can't evaluate the other players on the roster. Okay, that seems very anti-Trey Lance. You don't trust him to do that, by the way. But it's also one game. Like, does it really matter? Let me just see what Trey Lance has. What's the downside? He's terrible? Oh, no. You have nothing to play for. Like, it's over already. It's been over. Why not give him a chance to play? I was fine not doing it when Rush was playing well, because how can you bench a guy that's played his 2 best games ever against the Panthers and the Bucs? Like, it's tough to sit him at that point. But at this point, now you can, because he's coming off a bad game. And it's Week 18, and it's the season. And he's probably, whatever money he's going to make himself in free agency, if there's much to be made there, he's already kind of locked it in to an extent. So let Lance play. The downside is he throws 4 picks again in a game. Who cares? At least make it a bit more entertaining. Now, the season is over on Sunday, but we will be here all off-season long. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/CowboysTV. One very intriguing report coming out of NFL Network on Sunday was that Garrett Wilson, the Jets star receiver, might just request a trade this offseason, acknowledging that Wilson and Aaron Rodgers haven't seen eye to eye, and there's been some friction there. Here's what NFL Network reported. This is Pelissero and Rapport kind of combined piece, by the way. New York received calls for teams interested in trading for Wilson after they got Devontae Adams in October, and they had no interest back then, but a new GM might see him as a trade piece to help them acquire a new QB in the draft. Wilson has not requested a trade, but if Rodgers is back, that is one of the options for now for how to proceed. Wilson has been a consistent 1,000-yard receiver over the course of his NFL career. Every year he comes out, he drops 1,000 yards. And he has done it, by the way, with objectively not good quarterback play. It's been bad. It's been trotting out Zach Wilson and backups, and it's not like Aaron Rodgers was good this year. Also, Rodgers and Wilson were not on the same page because Rodgers just likes his guys and will throw it to them even if Garrett Wilson is open, like he was a lot on film, by the way. So would you trade for Garrett Wilson? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Some more brief thoughts on this to come, but sound off for me in the comments of today's show. I'd do it. I would trade my first rounder for him because I think that's the cost. You have a legitimate 1,000-yard consistent wide receiver who should be even better if you put him alongside CeeDee Lamb and by far the best quarterback he's ever played with relative to what those guys at the Jets were at that time. I doubt the Cowboys would, though. It's a very anti-Cowboys move. I'd be hyped. I'd be excited. It'd be an aggressive, all-in move for once, but I don't think the Cowboys would really pursue that. I'd do it, but I don't think they would.